Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey,
Hello.
and the Lord of Pennies, Satsu 2 Cents.
What it do?
And I am your Lord of one of two options, apparently, so take your pick, Scribe Light.
What
All
are
thanks
the
to Monkey.
options, Scribe?
What are those options? Well, apparently it's punishment. This is the classic iteration. And now, thanks to Monkey, penetration. So
That sounds bad. Thanks to Monkey, it's penetration.
thanks to Monkey, it's penetration. Sounds like the tagline to an ad for something. Thanks to Monkey, it's penetration. Anyway, well, aside from that, how are you guys tonight?
Okay. I had to go back to the hospital today, and I'm going to whine about this for a minute because I didn't do it anywhere else. So, as you guys know, yesterday I was supposed to get blood drawn, and I did, and they fucked up. The one sample was not supposed to be exposed to light, and for some reason it got exposed to light. So they called me up, hey, come back and get more blood drawn. And so I did because I'm a good little person. And I go back today. Now, being that they fucked up, wouldn't you think maybe they'd like try to rush me through? But, oh,
No.
come here. No, they didn't. I had to sit there and wait as behind everybody fucking else. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then the guy takes me back there to get my blood, and he actually says to me, you know, it's kind of weird we don't just fast track you guys who we have to come back. We don't have problems that often, but when we do, we should do that for you. I'm like, why are you fucking telling me this?
Yeah.
Go tell your boss. He's the one that's but I got my blood drawn, and he actually slipped it into a dark glove to keep it nice and safe from the light. So hopefully I don't have to go back for that shit again.
Yay. And hello, chat. And before we begin, we got a early super chat from Tall Person. Welcome back, Tall Person. Long time no see. I saw you on the Jessica Jones stream I did the other day. But Tall Person says a few things. One, happy International Day of Happiness, everybody. I did not know that was the case. It's a bit sadly ironic that today is the day of happiness, given some of the things we'll go over today. Number two, today is my birthday. Uh-oh, we're going to have to sing a song. Number three, fuck hate speech laws. Exactly. And number four, an ad request, which I feel bad about having to decline, but I appreciate it anyway. And you're going to get a birthday song here in a minute. And thank you, Snubber 13. Punished Scribe, a man dedicated his full sentences. Oh, sorry, denied his full sentences. FYI, that's a Metal Gear reference joke. A man denied his full sentences. Well, if I played more Metal Gear, which I haven't since the very first Metal Gear, I might know that, but I don't because I'm a dork.
I haven't played since the very, very first one.
All right, so we have two birthdays. We have Tall Person, and so far as I hear, Zejaman, Minding Freeman. I haven't said that in a while. Minding Freedom has a birthday as well today. So I say we do Tall Person first, and then we do Minding as we transition to MSS News, just to keep things
Works
spaced
for
out.
me.
All right, so let's sing to Tall Person, and for his generosity, I would invite Satsu.
Jesus
also,
Christ!
I don't know. I had a drink earlier. This is my problem now. I'm like I'm a practicing alcoholic or something, so I just learn my words. Satsu, would you also sing with us for Tall Person?
I will, but because you asked me so nicely.
And drunkenly. Hi, Satsu. You sing with me. Okay. And a one. And a two.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Tall Person.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Tall Person.
May your hearing never return to you.
Yeah, there you go. But before we begin with everything else, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, hit that like button if you have not already, and many, many of you have not. And also share our stuff. I have a new video out. I'm pretty sure Satsu put something out today, didn't you?
I made an attempt and it failed miserably. So
Okay.
it will be coming out tomorrow.
Thank you, Sanguine. That is the problem. You are practicing alky, not a professional one. That's I'm such a lightweight and such an amateur at it that I just don't know how to hold my liquor. But anyway, I just feel like I feel compelled to like one drink a day, finish off this bottle of Jack Daniels that I got sitting around. So what are you gonna do? Anything else to cover before we begin with the unfortunate news of the day? And there's several pieces of unfortunate news.
Nothing that comes to mind.
Okay, well, then we'll start with this.
Shit show.
So, shortly before the stream began, another bomb went off in Austin. Now, not to be confused with the bomb that went off earlier this morning at the FedEx location. This is another one. So this would be a fifth exploded bomb. So a tweet from the Austin Police Department as of 8:19 p.m. Eastern Time. Austin Police is responding to reported explosion in the 9600 block of Brody Lane in South Austin. Let's see, reported explosion. The medics transported a somewhere in the 30s of age male with potentially serious but not expected to be life-threatening injuries.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, so here's the latest and greatest on the whole mad bomber of Austin. A package exploded at a FedEx facility just outside San Antonio early Tuesday. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives confirmed it was connected to the Austin bombs. 4 bombings in 17 days have left the Texas Capitol on edge. Now, that was posted before this 5th incident occurred just a little while ago. And, of course, the police have belatedly, in my opinion, confirmed we're dealing with a serial bomber. There was also a report that at the FedEx facility, there was a second package found that came from the same source, but I didn't get much information on whether that was also a bomb or something separate. Thank you, Diesel Dave. I actually get to catch you live tonight. You haven't caught me yet. I'm like a Pokemon. Gotta catch
Sorry about that, guys. My fucking browser closed by itself again.
Oh, I didn't even notice you were gone because I had the window down because I was looking at the news. So what does that say?
Well, the background's black. He just blends right in.
Oh!
Damn.
Let's see.
What'd I say?
Let's see. A second suspicious package was located at the FedEx facility on McKinney Falls Parkway in Austin on Tuesday morning. They haven't said anything about what that second package has contained, or at least they haven't released that. So I don't know if that means something or what. But either way, so we've had 3 bombings up until this morning when there was a 4th explosion at FedEx facility. Apparently, the bomb went off while it was going down a conveyor belt, and so it was like jostled or something. It injured someone there, but not seriously, and thankfully no one was actually holding it or opening it at the time, so it was basically just minor collateral damage. So that's a plus, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things.
So somebody didn't get hurt. We're real seriously hurt because FedEx doesn't handle your packages very well. That's kind of funny, really.
Or because this guy's construction of that particular package was not of the same quality as his last ones or something. Second package at the FedEx facility. Whoa. There was one. We don't know what the details are. And now we don't have all the details yet, but now there's been another explosion in Austin, and one guy's been transported to the hospital.
As far as we know, the other ones didn't actually go through any service. They were just because there were no shipping labels or anything on them. So this would be the first going through the mail, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So the first 2 were dropped off at people's houses. Sorry, the first 3 were dropped off at people's houses. And they just happened to pick them up. The 4th bomb was a tripwire bomb out in an alley somewhere.
Yeah.
I guess the FedEx thing would make it a 5th one. I apologize. I got my miscounting here. So the FedEx bomb was a 5th instance. This one earlier was the 6th one. So 6 bombings that we know of, and the police are all attaching them to the same source or person or persons, depending on what's going on, because we don't know yet. So far as I've heard, no one has taken responsibility, like a group or some Zodiac killer type identity or anything. But yeah, I mean, it's still going on, and it's disconcerting and a bit frightening that the cops haven't found a better lead yet. So
well, in fairness to them, what was the first one was in mid-March?
Early March.
Early March. So I mean, it really hasn't been that long. Somebody is like ramping up their shit quick.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll keep an eye on the news in case, God forbid, something else happens, because today's just been a day in Austin. What can I tell you? But then there's the big news of the day, at least for those of us in the YouTube slash skeptic slash commentary, whatever communities you want to talk about, but just in general for any YouTuber of any stripe whatsoever, especially those of you that might operate in Britain and especially Scotland. Count Dankula was found guilty of committing a hate crime, effectively. Now, for those of you who are unaware, this is the very, very truncated version. I'll read the article here in a minute, but the short version is a year ago, wasn't it? Or a year and a half ago or something now?
It was in April of, wasn't it 2015? Was it 2015 or 2016? I can't remember.
Something like that. It was so a couple of years ago now. Almost 2 years ago now.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
A YouTuber named Count Dankula made a video specifically and explicitly stated to piss off his girlfriend, wherein he trained her pug dog to raise his paw up whenever he says "gas the Jews," as a joke, because he was trying to think of something awful to annoy his girlfriend with. And what's more awful than Nazism? But that joke has, after a long, prolonged, ridiculous legal battle, resulted in him being convicted of a hate crime. And now we are awaiting a month, basically, until the end of April to find out what his sentence is. His sentence may possibly result in jail time up to a year for making a joke video about a dog raising its paw up. So I'll read the story as comes from the BBC. Man guilty of hate crime for filming pug's Nazi salutes. Mark Meechan, if I'm saying that correctly, 30, recorded his girlfriend's pug, Buddha, responding to statements such as "gas the Jews" and "Sig Heil" by raising its paw. But police were alerted, and he was arrested for allegedly committing a hate crime. The original clip had been viewed more than 3 million times on YouTube. Meechan of Coatbridge, Lancashire, went on trial at Airdrie Sheriff Court, where he denied any wrongdoing. He insisted he made the video, which was posted in April of 2016, to annoy his girlfriend, Suzanne Kelly, 29.
Which he said in the video.
Right. Mm-hmm. He said it in the video. There was no mistaking his stated intent for why he was doing this. But Sheriff Derek O'Carroll found him guilty of a charge under the Communications Act that he posted a video on social media and YouTube which was grossly offensive because it was, quote, anti-Semitic and racist in nature and was aggravated by religious prejudice. Now, how you get that from a guy saying, I'm going to annoy my girlfriend with something awful like training a dog to raise his paw up, I don't know. But this is the logic of apparently Scottish law and or British law at this point.
It makes no sense because he even says, this is the most awful thing I can think of.
Yeah.
And they're treating it like he's going, yay, go Hitler. That's not what he was doing, you dickbags.
Well, Harmful Opinions made a really great point. He said, what if he trained the dog to do something, or to dance around or something, when he said, like the world's controlled by Jews or something. If he made the dog respond to something that was entirely and blatantly anti-Semitic, he made the dog do something awful to annoy his girlfriend, and it was the Nazis. He was making fun of the Nazis. He was not supporting Nazism. He was lambasting Nazism.
The only one here who should be offended by what Dank did is Minding Freedom.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanguine. Best summary I've heard was, quote, Scottish man found guilty for believing Nazis aren't cute, since it was a joke to make a dog less cute. Exactly. Let's see. Sheriff O'Carroll told the court he did not believe Meechin had made the video only to annoy his girlfriend and ruled it was anti-Semitic. He also said he believed Meechin, who was supported at court by Tommy Robinson, former leader of far-right group the English Defense League, left the video on YouTube to drive traffic to other material he had on there. He added, quote, "In my view, it is a reasonable conclusion that the video is grossly offensive. The description of the video as humorous is no magic wand. This court has taken the freedom of expression into consideration, but the right to freedom of expression also comes with responsibility."
Mm-hmm. He didn't, oh God. Do the Scottish believe that there's actually going to be a bunch of pugs out there gassing Jews? That's
by this logic,
reasonable
yes.
thing to take from this ruling.
Yeah, by this logic, a pug raising his paw up is to bring about the Fourth Reich.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, that there was no other conclusion to come to.
Well, if you guys remember, one of the biggest kind of deflections we had whenever we were talking about free speech was people were saying, like, you know, you guys are always complaining about your free speech being challenged or taken away, but that's only if the government is doing something, but you should always expect social consequences, you know, and you should have to take responsibility for that. So now that argument is valid. Like, you can't make that argument anymore because now the government is actually stepping in and telling you what you can and cannot say. But I guarantee those people's arguments don't change.
Well, I love this bit, okay, because I'm going to read this quote from the judge because this just... Sheriff O'Carroll said Meechin was, quote, quite obviously an intelligent and articulate man. But he added, quote, the accused knew that the material was offensive and he knew why it was offensive. Yes! Yes! You fucking idiot! He knew it was offensive because the Nazis are awful! Holy shit! This, I mean, the cognitive dissonance. Just listening, well, you couldn't listen because they couldn't record it, but just reading what the judge says and then applying his statements to the logic of convicting this man of a hate crime when he was obviously, knowingly disparaging Nazis. Oh.
But, yeah.
Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to yell into my mic like that.
No. I agree completely.
Anyway, there's not much more to the printed story as is. Yeah, but
it's funny that he knew exactly what he was doing. He told us exactly what he was doing throughout the whole fucking video. The judge just doesn't seem to take that part into account.
Yeah, if you say it like together like that, like, well, we know he knew it was a joke. We know he said it because it was offensive, and for that reason, he said it because he was being anti-Semitic and because he hates he hates Jews. I'm like, wait, because how did you just go in a circle like that?
Well, yeah, because it's like, okay, he knew it was offensive. Oh, okay, so you're saying, and I hate to do the whole Jordan Peterson thing. So what you're saying is, but it's true. So you're saying he knew he was saying something he did not believe in.
Yeah.
You knew what he was saying was
secretly.
Yeah, it wasn't a statement of support. It wasn't a statement of endorsement. It was a statement intended only to be offensive, as he stated in the video, to annoy his girlfriend, to make a cute pug less cute by having it emulate something awful, which you acknowledge he knew he was doing. Yeah. And yet he's guilty and faces potential jail time for a joke.
Well, did you see the tweet from him where he's got to go meet with some counselor and they have to decide whether or not to put a fucking electronic tagging device on him and put him under house arrest until his...
Yeah, he's going to flee the country. Yeah, God.
He should. We need to sneak his ass on a boat over here.
No, there is a hacienda waiting for him in Argentina with the rest of the Nazis. You know, because obviously he's on the run now because he's totes a Nazi.
These fucking people.
Anyway, so his sentencing has been put off until the end of April. So now Dankula has to stew for another month.
To the 23rd, yes.
Till the 23rd, wondering what his fate will be and whether or not he's going to be locked up for a year over a joke.
Over a joke, yeah.
I mean, it's ludicrous that he was convicted at all. I can only hope that some sense of rationale will prevail when we get to sentencing and he won't actually have to serve time. But I don't hold out hope.
Agree.
I don't hold out any hope, but I hope so. But given what happened today, anything's possible.
Yeah, I hope that they like slap him with probation or something stupid like that. But I wouldn't have expected him to be convicted. So yeah,
this is just
he's got fucked by this whole thing.
Thank you, Diesel Dave. The U.S. is the only country that has the right of free speech until the left gets their way. Well, yes. I mean,
well, I've said this before, you know, that the U.S. is the only place with free speech, and every time I say it, you know, the Canadians and the U.K. they're, no, we have free speech. No, you don't. You really don't.
Mm-hmm.
And ours is getting limited, guys. Don't forget, in California now, you can get a big fat fine if you use the wrong pronouns. And I know people get tired of me talking about free speech, but it is fucking important. It really is. This kind of shit is not that far away from here, because this is all about feelings. Dank didn't hurt anyone. There is nobody physically injured by what he did. He made a goddamn video making his girlfriend's cute little dog, who he got tired of hearing about how cute it was, do the most awful thing he could think of, and he's going to jail for it. That is fucking retarded.
But not just physically, though. Like physically, emotionally, financially, nobody was negatively impacted in any way. Like at all. It's just, you said something we don't like, you're going to jail.
Yeah,
prison.
There's
Sorry, go ahead.
And if you go on YouTube, I just want everybody to, after the stream, I want you to look up a British comedian named David Mitchell, and just look up the phrase, "Are we the baddies?" And it's him and his partner on this comedy show sitting there dressed as Nazis behind enemy lines in World War II, sitting there talking about the current state of affairs. And then one of them's just looking at the other and say, "Are we the bad guys?" And it's just this hilarious little skit. And it is as disparaging of the Nazis as making a pug raise its arm, and David Mitchell isn't in jail. He'll never be convicted of anything. God forbid anybody else is, but holy shit, this is insane. John Cleese, Monty Python. How many Nazi jokes did Monty Python make over the years that are still available online? Well, gosh, and they're still selling DVDs. They're profiting off of hate. I bet you better go arrest John Cleese.
For now.
Thank you, Terry Diamantis. You get money for mentioning David Mitchell. Hey, David Mitchell and all those. I mean, QI. I love QI. Jimmy Carr, David Mitchell, Bill Bailey, all those guys. And they make fun of Nazis because Nazis are worthy of being made fun of. That's the whole deal, you know?
No, you're just supposed to cower in fear at their names, even now, even though, you know, it's been torn down, and the reason that we're able to move forward is because of things like comedy. No, it is a terrible thing that you need to cower in fear of for all of eternity. That way, still giving them power, even though.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what did the Scottish court do today? The Scottish court made people fearful to make fun of Nazis. The Scottish court came out in defense of respecting Nazism.
Yes.
It's such a mind fuck.
The Nazis are above reproach.
I got to go to something else because my brain's just going to like flip if I go on anymore. But anyway, I'm sure we'll talk about it more at deep topic time. But anyway, that happened today. A lot of people are talking about it, probably far more eloquently than I mean, what Harmful Opinions said today, what Dankula said himself after he got out of there and everything else. But thank you, Snubberth. How much would it take to get you three to sing Springtime for Hitler instead of birthday songs? Gotcha. If I knew anything more than the chorus, maybe. Thank you, Diesel Dave. Even left-wing Ricky Gervais came to his defense. Yeah, every comedian in Britain right now, if they haven't already, should be coming to the defense of Dankula for what just happened, because by precedent, they are all in danger, not just for making fun of Nazis, but for making fun of anything that could be construed by some worrywart as being, quote unquote, grossly offensive.
Yeah,
that is the standard now set in not, I think, Scottish law, but maybe just British law in general.
You are grossly offensive.
Well, now for something that isn't grossly offensive, that actually a good story out of a awful situation. A lone resource officer's quick action stopped the Maryland school shooter within seconds. So for those of you that didn't know, there was a school shooting today, but thankfully no one died save for the shooter that I know of. Let me make sure I'm right on that before we get too far into this. But the school shooting was over in seconds, but it could have dragged on longer and proven deadlier were it not for the rapid response of a school resource officer. When a 17-year-old gunman walked into Maryland's Great Mills High School on Tuesday, the swift action of the school's sole resource officer, Blaine Gaskill, was instrumental in bringing the incident to a quick end. Gaskill's response was hailed as an example of exactly what a resource officer is supposed to do in such a circumstance, particularly when contrasted to the actions of the security officer in last month's shooting in Parkland, Florida. Quote, he responded exactly how we train our personnel to respond, St. Mary County's Sheriff Tim Cameron told reporters. As soon as the gunfire began, Gaskill rushed to the scene. He fired a round at the shooter, who also fired a round at the same time. It's not yet clear whether the shooter, Austin Wyatt Rollins, was felled by the officer's bullet or killed himself. Quote, DFC Gaskill fired at the shooter almost simultaneously as the shooter fired, Cameron said. This is something we train, practice, and in reality hope would never come to fruition. This is our worst nightmare. Governor Larry Hogan called Gaskill a very capable school resource officer who also happened to be a SWAT team member. This is a tough guy who apparently closed in very quickly and took the right kind of action. And while I think it's still tragic, he may have saved other people's lives. The incident began in a school hallway at 7:55 a.m. just before classes started. Authorities say Austin, armed with a handgun, shot a female student with whom he had a prior relationship and another male student. Gaskill responded to the scene in less than a minute, the sheriff said. Cameron said the entire incident took less than a minute, possibly seconds. The 16-year-old female student is in critical condition with life-threatening injuries, and the 14-year-old male student who was shot is in stable condition. So fingers crossed for those two. Gaskill was unharmed. So thankfully, no one thus far has died, save for the guy that went there to hurt people. And good on this officer for not running away or hiding or telling people to stay back. He did his job.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's anything else to say on that except like goddamn school shootings, but at least, this one was contained to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Let's see. And the only other story I brought up, completely not traumatic or tragic in any way, but just makes me wonder, am I living in a time warp? As Toys R Us exits, KB Toys returns.
What?
I'm not making this up. And for those of you that are old enough to remember KB Toys, it was sort of like the Toys R Us competitor. I went there actually quite often because they had like small storefronts and not like gigantic warehouses. That's where I got most of my Marvel action figures back in the day because they carried those.
I always liked KB Toys, but they were like a mall thing that kind of disappeared.
Yep. Toys R Us is on the way out, but KB Toys is set to pop back up. Strategic Marks, a company that buys and revitalizes defunct brands, owns the KB name and plans to open 1,000 pop-up KB stores for Black Friday and the holiday shopping season. And they'll probably clean up.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you, just on the PR
good.
alone. Quote, my assumption is that there's about $500 million worth of toys that have been produced for Toys R Us with no place to go, said Strategic Marks president Elia Kassoff in a phone interview with CNN Money. That's a big, big void, and we're hoping to fill it. fill that void. Let's see. Toys R Us, which filed for bankruptcy last year, announced last week that it expects to close all of its U.S. stores. Those closures will put 31,000 people out of work and hurt toy manufacturers that depended on the national retailer for distribution. Kassoff said he's been in contact with Hasbro and Mattel and up to 200 other smaller toy suppliers who are looking for new brick and mortar retailers. He said he plans to take advantage of a glut of toy manufacturers that have inventory but no place to sell it. If he does this right, he'll make a mint.
So it's going to pop up like a Halloween store?
Yeah, it's just going to be for like a seasonal thing.
That's actually a pretty good idea, man.
Yeah, economically speaking, it's a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, execution wise,
I don't think it's this. It's not the same as like Halloween. I mean, once the season's over, Halloween stores dump their inventory very quickly. It'll be interesting.
Well, I mean, our in this day and age, are actual brick and mortar toy stores anything other than seasonal now?
No, not really, but that's why they're gone.
Yeah.
Even if you remember the story we read about Toys R Us closing, even their Black Friday sales were horrific.
Yeah.
So I understand what they're trying to do. I don't think it works with toys. I really don't.
Well, we'll find out later this year, I suppose. A pop-up KB tour. It's interesting, a company that buys up defunct brands, like just waiting for the time to bring them back.
Yeah,
that's interesting. It's kind of like Hollywood, like let's make a Chips movie.
I'm still offended at that.
If they're doing it for Black Friday, especially considering how serious like Black Friday has been getting over the past couple of years, like the lines are getting longer, people are waiting longer and shit like that. That opens up like 1,000 extra locations for toys specifically that people can go to that might not, offer that crazy, chaotic, type of environment that some people just don't want to deal with. So it could actually be really good or really bad.
Well, the problem is for Black Friday, most people do more than just toy shopping on Black Friday. They go hit clothing sales and bedding sales and electronic sales. I can't remember the last time there was a toy so popular. Maybe Elmo. A toy so popular, everybody just had to have it to where, okay, maybe on Black Friday we'll run to a fucking toy store for it.
Well, I don't know. I worked at Target and motherfuckers went crazy over toys. Like when I worked back in the electronics, like people would travel like really far depending on what. And this wasn't even on Black Friday. Black Friday, of course, was crazy too because a lady one time barricaded the aisle and was pepper spraying people to protect some shit that was down there. And I don't know, just because I worked at Target, I'm looking at it from that perspective. People get crazy about that shit too, so I don't know. I'm interested to see how it turns out.
I remember, and this tells you how old I am, obviously, but I remember seeing videos of parents fighting over Cabbage Patch Kid dolls.
Oh yeah,
like mini riots going on over trying to get the last Cabbage Patch Kid. It's just like holy shit. Yeah, I don't know that there's been a toy insanity like that. I'm trying to think of like last time there's like maybe when Beanie Babies were the biggest craze or something. Like a limited supply of toys. I mean, the last limited supply of something I saw was the Szechuan sauce for Rick and Morty. So, but that's all the news stories I had pulled up. I know there's a couple other things that happened today that are probably noteworthy, but in the course of things, they didn't really stand out. Do you guys know of anything else?
No, nothing that comes to mind.
All right. Well, then, before we get to MSS News, there's a cartoon skunk we got to sing a song to. All right.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. And a 1, and a 2.
Happy
Geburtstag, viel Glück. Geburtstag, viel Glück.
Birthday to you.
Alles Gute zum Geburtstag.
Happy birthday, dear Minding Freedom.
Zum
Happy
Geburtstag,
birthday
viel Glück.
to you. Happy birthday, Minding Freedom. And yes, he did call you a skunk.
Zum Geburtstag. Yeah, that's one of the only things I remember from German class is how to sing Happy Birthday, or their version of Happy Birthday, with something like Happy Birthday, Good Luck, or something, or It's Your Birthday, Good Luck. No. Oh, okay. If Scribe sings in German, he can call me a skunk all he wants. 99 Luftballon. Oh, sorry. All right. Well, anyway. So happy birthday, Badger, Mushroom. So if nothing else, we will move on to the wonderful world of MSS News, of which I think I posted something not too long ago. Guys, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can't promise we'll get to them all, but we'll get to as many as we can. And Monkey has something to say.
Maxcan said, I find that singing grossly offensive. Well, unfortunately for you, I don't live in Scotland. I'm an American.
And
America.
it's German. It's a German song,
Well,
not a Nazi song. Just so you
Well,
know.
I think he meant my version of the song where I was singing Gas the Jews.
Oh, somehow that just went over my head. I must not have noticed because I'm just, it's just so natural to me to hear that stuff.
Trying to make a rationale. It's just the singing, trust.
Let's see. Many people sent us the Count Dankula story, so thank you guys. Let's see. Let me get down to something that we haven't yet covered. Yeah, Dankula. Maryland shooting. We talked about that. What's this? Okay. I don't know. Okay, so Jack Cochran sends us this one. Jack the motherfucking Cochran. This is from Breitbart, so always a little bit of grain of salt, but who knows? London police edit thought crime threat after ridicule online.
Hi, SDA. Sorry.
Oh, hello, SDA. Thank you, Snumber. SDA is in the chat and is feeling neglected.
She knows how our chat works.
Yeah, she's been here long enough.
Yeah, she turned her into a housewife.
Chat doesn't matter to the last half hour. What are you talking about? Okay. People can be charged with an offense if their actions are within the law, but if their reasons for doing it are perceived as illegal hate by others, London police have said, before withdrawing the claim, which is interesting given what happened to Dankula. Social media users began drawing attention to the Metropolitan Force's new and highly unusual definition of a hate crime on the 16th of this month. It remained like that until the 18th, according to Google Cache, before the police edited it again on Monday. The definition did not match that given by the College of Policing or Crown Prosecution Service, and critics online demanded it could be read as a threat against thought crimes.
It was a threat against thought crimes. Did you guys see it?
Yeah. Well, they got a picture of it right here. Breitbart London asked the Metropolitan Police for comment on their change of heart over hate crime, but no reply had been received at the time of publication. Quote, London's Metropolitan Police inform you that you can be arrested for doing something that isn't illegal if someone else thinks you had bad thoughts while doing it, joked U.S. commentator Jeff Jacoby. In 21st century Britain, you could be charged with a hate crime if anyone thinks your actions could have been motivated by hate, added another user. Let's see, what was the actual quote? The quote is, though what the perpetrator has done may not be against the law, their reasons for doing it are. This means it may be possible to charge them with an offense.
Yeah, you did nothing illegal, but because you had bad intentions, you're still going to jail.
Or the perceived.
No, somebody thought you had that.
Yes,
right. You don't actually have to have them. Somebody just like, you know what? I think that was bad.
That guy's an asshole.
Haul him away. That is insane.
Whoa!
And some unrelated.
Whoa! You
just went way up, dude.
Whoa!
Oh shit! I haven't even.
There you go. Okay. You're back to normal.
I'm not even moving. Like my mic is just sitting here, so I don't know what that was about. Sorry, guys.
Oh, it happened again. Okay, you almost deafened me there for a second. Sorry, I didn't mean to react like that, but it was really painful. Let's see.
Yeah. If somebody thinks you are being mean, you can go to jail over that. That post was so fucking stupid. I'm so glad I'm American.
For now. Well, Mundane Matt's in the chat. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt. How's it going, bud?
Hey, Matt, you want to come on and talk about Dankula? Happy to have you if you do. Let's see. This one comes from Meshisu. I kind of like this one already. If this is, it's just a photo clip. Might or might not be a true article. New breakthrough: semen may actually cure depression in women.
Well, mine always does.
That's what I say, or at least the process. Yeah, I mean, mostly it's my syringe that does the work, but
yeah.
Wow,
it's how you inject it.
Yeah, it's all about the style. What do we have here?
Oh, Matt says give him 10 minutes. He's at the gym.
Oh, cool. Let me know, dude. Oh, here I will tweet out the linky link because why not? I think I can. Can I private message Mundane Matt? I don't know. I guess I'll find out here. I think so. Find out. Oh yes, I can. Ooh, I feel privileged. It's my male privilege, I think.
That's your Matt privilege.
My Matt privilege. There you go.
Matt privilege. It's your mundane privilege.
Your mundane privilege.
What is this? Okay, this comes from Mike Unstinks, our favorably named follower. Florida man. Oh boy. Man 44 seeks help from deputies after girlfriend said he was cheating.
Night, baby. Okay. Love you.
Bye, Lady Monkey.
That is interesting.
A 44-year-old man fleeing his 25-year-old girlfriend, drove to the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office seeking help Sunday, deputies said. Diana Padilla got angry at Jose Rodriguez on Sunday afternoon after she became convinced he was seeing another woman. The two lived together on Oceanside Circle in Ruskin. Rodriguez, who does not have a valid driver's license, got into a GMC Sierra and drove away, and Padilla chased him in a Dodge Dakota. Padilla rammed Rodriguez during the chase, the spokesman said. Just after 4:30 p.m. Sunday, deputies received a call that two vehicles were moving recklessly near the Sun City area. A few minutes later, a deputy inside his car at the Ruskin Sheriff's headquarters saw two trucks speed into the parking lot. "Help, she is following me," shouted Rodriguez, who pulled up first. Padilla got out of her truck and attempted to get into Rodriguez's vehicle. Quote, both vehicles had damage from when Padilla struck Rodriguez in the door during the pursuit. Padilla was charged with aggravated battery. God, I can't hold my liquor.
Aggravated douchebaggery.
Aggravated battery of a person using a deadly weapon. Rodriguez was charged with operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. She was released on $5,000 bail. He was released on $250 bail. 25-year-old and a 44-year-old. Yeah. Okay. Well, summer, winter, sometimes. Bye, SDA.
Bye. It must be crazy, man.
Let's see.
Well, I guess the question is, was he cheating?
That's the big mystery. Okay, so...
I hope he was. I hope he was banging her mom.
And, of course, this is a Washington Post story, and it won't let me actually look at the things. I'm not willing to pay the Washington Post for any of this stuff. So let me try to get it into something other than... this with one of those private window things. I really ought to get one of those VPN connection things that just, makes this all go away.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. All right, this is gonna let me do it. Yes. Okay, this is gross. I'll give a warning that the headline alone is pretty gross, but oh boy. A woman was found half decomposed, crawling with maggots, and still alive, police say.
Oh,
wow.
A bedridden woman was found living in squalor in her home in northern Georgia, partly decomposing and covered in cockroaches and maggots. First responders discovered the woman, who is in her late 50s, after responding to a call about an unresponsive person last week at the home in Beaufort, about 40 miles outside Atlanta. Authorities described the scene as deplorable, with garbage piled nearly to the ceiling, roaches scaling the walls, and the woman, bedridden and obese, showing signs of decomposition on her legs. Firefighters reported the incident to investigators, saying they did not think the woman, identified as Tracy Sorrells, would live much longer. Her present condition is not known. Her husband, Terry Sorrells, 54, and their son, Christian, 18, were arrested and charged with neglect of a disabled or elderly person, a felony offense, according to online booking records. It was not immediately clear whether the two have attorneys. Yeah, there's not much more to this story other than those details because it's still kind of in process, and they got some They got some more detailed description of the house and everything from the first responders, but I'm not going to read it for the sake of saving people's dinners upcoming again. So, but when I read that headline, I thought that I have to misread that. That cannot be a real thing that happened in life, but no, apparently so.
Well, that does sound pretty bad. But can we talk about their gross fat shaming? Like that's just.
Thank you, Gregory Hurst. Will Hillary stay out of the news already? Oh,
that is not
nice. That's offensive.
That's not nice.
I'm sending the Highlanders after you. Oh no. Oh, this might you somewhere in. This reminds me of like talking to Monkey about some of the stuff that he has to go through. This comes from Subcon Jazz. Subcon Jazz. Woman dies after alternative acupuncture therapy that uses live bee stings instead of needles.
What?
Did she not know she was allergic? A 55-year-old Spanish woman has died after undergoing an alternative acupuncture procedure in which live bee stings are used instead of needles. The cause of death was a severe allergic reaction to the bee venom. Big surprise. The unusual case is described in a recent study published in the Journal of Investigational Allergology, I don't know, and Clinical Immunology, blah, blah. Apitherapy is a brand of alternative medicine that revolves around the use of various bee-related products, such as honey and pollen. However, some of the more extreme procedures, like bee acupuncture, involve the use of bee venom. During these therapy sessions, a practitioner uses live bees, pinching them until the sting emerges so that it can be inserted into the body. That's just weird. Yeah. And especially if, like, shouldn't they ask you ahead of time, are you allergic to bee venom? And if you say, I don't know, you don't do it.
Yeah, you test at the very least.
Yeah. You do some kind of pre-screen or something. That's just...
just go, well, let's find out.
Let's see. We talked about that one. Okay. This one comes from the Hate Camel. And after this one, we'll break for YouTube time. Missouri man seeks second reprieve from Supreme Court. Well, it's surprising you get a first one. You would go for a second one. The U.S. Supreme Court has granted a stay of execution for a Missouri inmate who argued that a medical condition could result in the process causing him undue suffering. Russell Boogaloo was scheduled to die by injection Tuesday evening for killing a former girlfriend's new boyfriend during a violent rampage in 1996. In a statement, the Supreme Court said it granted the stay of execution, but the court says that 4 justices, John Roberts, Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, and Neil Gorsuch, would have allowed the execution to go ahead. It is the second time that the nation's highest court has halted the execution of Boogaloo over concerns about his rare medical condition, cavernous hemangioma.
I'm allergic to dying.
Yeah, the ailment causes weakened and malformed blood vessels, tumors in his head and throat, and on his lip and vein problems. Okay. His execution was stopped previously in 2014. I remember, I don't know where it was. There was this is many years ago now. There was a story about a guy. He was in a state where they still allowed execution by hanging.
Yeah.
Or by the gallows, basically. And I think the deal was that the condemned got to choose the method of execution, so either like hanging or lethal injection.
Mm-hmm.
And between the time that he got convicted and the time that his execution finally came up because of all the appeals process and everything else, he had eaten himself so fat that the physics of hanging him would have decapitated him. Therefore, he was allowed not to be executed. Like, that was his out. He ate himself into obesity to avoid being killed.
I'm too fat to kill.
Yeah, I'm too fat to kill. Too big to fail, basically. But yeah. Guys, thank you so much for all the stories. If we get extra time later on, maybe we'll go through a couple more. Ranted a bit strenuously about the Dankula thing. We'll talk more about that shortly, I'm sure. if or when Matt joins us. But now we're going to be on to YouTube time. So, Satsu, what were you up to today?
Well, I got the Dankula news and did a rant today about it. And because I was like really careless in the video editing process, it went to shit several times. So that will be uploaded tomorrow because I gave up on that. But I did record quite a few other videos that I have lined up throughout the week. I've mentioned the topics before, so those will be coming out because I'm sure people are still curious about my opinions on those topics. Other than that, I bought State of Decay and I'm thinking about streaming it. So if you're interested in watching that, then make sure you're subscribed to 2 Cents Plus because I'm thinking about playing that.
What is State of Decay for those unaware?
It is a zombie survival horror game, and it's built on community type mechanics where you go out and you find survivors and you build a base in a community. It's very interesting because you play with a lot of different characters as opposed to just one, and they get like fatigued and depressed and sad and sick, and you have to do all this micromanaging to make sure that everybody's on the up and up, and it's pretty fucking interesting actually. So if you guys want to see that, then make sure you subscribe to 2 Cents Plus.
Breaking news real quick. So now police are now saying that an incendiary device, not a package bomb, exploded at the Goodwill store. That was the one we were talking about earlier, and was not related to the prior bombings.
Oh.
So without any more details on exactly what the incendiary device was or the circumstances around it, if it was anything other than some kind of accidental thing or like, you know, somebody dropped a flare gun and it went off or something, copycat? I hope not. I guess we'll find out. Thank you, Diesel Dave. I'd totally be interested in that, Satsu. Well, you know where to find it.
Yep, 2 Cents Plus. Make sure you subscribe.
Plus. Monkey, what were you up to today? Oh yeah, you're getting vampires were draining you today.
Yeah, I've still not been in a good way, guys. I didn't do anything today. Tomorrow I go back to my doctor though. The trip last week got canceled because I was sick. So go do that tomorrow morning, and she'll probably adjust my meds again, which won't do anything. And you guys will get to hear me whine about it. But I will be making a video, not just about Dankula, about free speech in general, because I've said it before. I'll say it until my dying breath. We need to be exporting free speech. That needs to be our leading export at this point because it is fucking ridiculous. So look forward to that.
And just to clarify, guys, I wasn't saying that whatever happened in Austin was a copycat. I don't know if that's the case. It just says incendiary device, which could be a billion different things. So like I say, sorry?
Keep going, keep going.
Okay, so until we know more details, there's the possibility that if it was anything other than something innocuous or an accident or just like, you know, a spare firework went off and shot somebody in the face or something, until we know otherwise, it's, you know, it's just a possibility. It's not confirmed. I'm not reporting that. So anyway, go ahead, Monkey.
One Ton Hammer says you couldn't see your doctor because you were sick. Yes, it's a neurologist. You don't go to them for a cold.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to get everybody else sick there. For the record, she's canceled appointments with me because she was sick. So.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey Matt, how you doing, bud?
Oh, hey Matt.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up, man?
Not much. I literally just got out of the gym. I just like walked back to my car.
Oh boy. Well, now you're all sweaty. You're all sweaty for us.
I know. This is the way you like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, since you're here, we're in YouTube time. Did you post any videos today? Have anything else exciting going on your channel?
I posted one a little bit ago about the Dankula thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement. That's some grade A bullshit.
Oh yeah, we'll expound more on that here in a few minutes as we get to deep topic time in about 5 minutes or so, because I know a lot of us have things to say more so. I'll go real quick. I posted a video today. It is the introduction to an online course teaching you how to do diversity recruiting. The actual course costs money, so I obviously didn't pay for that because I'm a cheapskate, and I'm not going to give money to people for that. But it was very professionally done. It was very, very well produced, And everything said in there, if actually put into written practice at a company, would be a violation of federal law.
Oh, of course it would.
My favorite part is where, and I'm almost quoting verbatim. She says, in order to institute or implement a diversity recruitment regimen, you have to mimic standard recruitment practices. And I was like, wait a second, mimic? You're hiding it. And she said something about having even though you have a determined outcome of your recruitment process, like a determined outcome. So you want to rig your hiring practices to favor certain individuals, but you acknowledge that you have to hide it in what would otherwise be seen as a standard recruitment procedure. Oh, so you're telling people to do illegal shit. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, just make sure it doesn't look illegal.
Right.
But it's not illegal because they're doing it.
No, exactly. Well, I mean,
that's the way they look at it.
Yeah, her entire job apparently is to go to companies to advise them on how to do diversity recruitment. And this video, the course is produced in some fashion by LinkedIn. So this isn't like some back, alley sort of organization or something, or some independent person just putting a video up on their YouTube channel. This is someone who gets paid to do this and is associated with one of the biggest sort of like networking companies out there on the internet. And I was taken aback, honestly. I mean, I've done a lot of videos on diversity, but this is the first time I had like a professional laying out in no uncertain terms what the actual steps are in implementing a diversity recruitment program in a company. And I just thought, and this isn't hidden. This isn't something that I found on the dark web or something. This is out there for everybody. And this is what this lady does. And I am waiting for the day when one of these companies that has these guys stand out there on podiums and stages declaring this openly finally gets slapped with a federal investigation, because I don't understand why they haven't. Like I said, cynicism requires a spark of hope. So I've still got my hope, even though I might be cynical. Thank you, Diesel.
I would argue that.
Sorry.
I would say that the best way to get that federal investigation would be to file a civil lawsuit against them.
Well, I have half a mind to try to go to apply to one of these companies that I know has stated such things publicly. And then if and when I don't get the job, say, well, they said that I probably wasn't hired because of this and it wasn't a secret. So get a lawsuit. Thank you, Diesel Dave. The only problem with that monkey is the First Amendment is protected by the Second.
That's a popular catchphrase, but the truth is our First Amendment is protected by the Supreme Court, who just last year ruled hate speech is not a thing here, thank God. And for the record, as liberal as our court can be, that was a unanimous decision. They unanimously said you can take your hate speech and shove it right up your ass.
Well, this is the same court that ruled in favor of the Westboro Baptist Church for their protests outside of funerals, because as disgusting as they were to most reasonable people, they weren't violating anyone's rights by doing so. And in fact, to stop them from doing it would be violating theirs. So,
yep.
Well, if you notice now, they're trying to say that hate speech is violence, and they're going down that pathway as trying to, I would say, probably loosen up the definition enough for the Supreme Court to rule in their favor. I don't think they're ever going to do it, but they're trying. The people are trying.
Yeah. Well, they are. And sorry, go ahead, Scribe.
I was going to say that's a great segue into what would otherwise be YouTube drama time, and the biggest drama today is, of course, Dankula. So let's just get into it. Go ahead, Monkey.
We saw this. Riley Dennis put out a video not long ago. Well, it's been a while now, talking about misgendering people is violence, and that came from that trans actor that's on Orange Is the New Black. I'm unfamiliar with the name.
Oh,
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
She played Frankenfurter on the on the. It's like Lavender. Is his name Lavender? I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah,
we'll find out. So someone in chat will tell us.
This has been a thing that's been going on and on, that they're trying to make it violence, and it's not. And I don't see any court going that way. And I get what you're saying about the Second Amendment, and maybe back in the day that was true, but right now what protects us is a court that, even as liberal as they can be, this is the court who gave us the Kelo decision, which is probably Laverne Cox. Thank you, guys. The Kelo decision, for those of you who don't know, was a misuse of the government being able to claim land. And it was such a horrible thing to see. But then to see that same court turn around and protect speech tells you how hard it'll be for any of that shit to happen here. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try to help fight against it over there, because Jesus Christ, I cannot believe he's going to jail for or could go to jail for this shit. You have a super chat there.
Sorry, I was updating the description with Matt's info on the off chance, the rare off chance that someone didn't already know about Matt. Let me get this up here. Come on. Thank you, Cassie. Thank you, Cassie. Laverne Cox. Trust me, I know trannies. Yes, Chaos. Thank you. Yes, we know you.
Chaos.
Go ahead, Matt.
Oh no, I was just gonna say there's a lot of people out there who don't know who I am, so the more the merrier who find out that.
There you go.
Hey, I'm more than happy to plug. But yeah, we talked earlier about
you.
You know, and you want to segue right into Dankula talking about plugging too, so that could be
plugging or pugging. Yeah, we talked earlier about the whole story, and just I mean, I got rather animated about it because the judge's words, and I might be paraphrasing here, but one of the quotes was the defendant knew what he was doing was offensive and knew that it would offend people, etc. And I'm like, well, if you know he knew it was meant to offend and not to be in support of or to endorse, how can you convict him of a hate crime? It's I was saying the cognitive dissonance on the judge's own statements next to what they ruled against him is just mind-blowing.
Well, you could tell from how the prosecutor was going at it, how they wanted to extend out the potential punishment up to 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I didn't hear that.
Really
Seriously?
to fuck them over. Yeah, and the judge shut it down. The judge shut that down. But you could tell that the way the prosecution, and probably even by default the judge, they're trying to make an example out of Dankula. That's all this is, and it's complete bullshit. And I think anyone with half a fucking brain can see that it's bullshit.
And like we said before, by doing this, you're instilling fear in people of making fun of Nazis.
Yeah, you're resurrecting the fear that they created and letting people know that just uttering their name in any way that we feel is distasteful or offensive, it can get you in some trouble. That shit is crazy. Like, all this jokes and stuff has taught us not to fear things. You know, humor has taught us that, you know, it's okay to laugh at these things because they're ridiculous. They're terrible now. And now you're resurrecting the fear. People are now terrified of Nazis again.
Last time you were with us, Matt, SDA was still here. Satsu is our new co-host here. And I don't know if you guys have met before. Satsu, Matt, Satsu.
I know the name. I don't know if we've ever spoken. So nice to meet you, sir.
Same to you. We've been in a couple streams together, but they weren't like hosted by me or anything. So I was just like there, like, oh, look, it's Matt.
Sorry, it's not that I sound like a total dick. I'm like, I don't know who you are.
No, like I don't expect people to like just know me because I'm a YouTuber. So I don't. Yeah.
Oh, you should try it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to expect them to know who you are. Right.
Oh hell,
it's a lot of fun when.
I hardly remember that Sats was here most of the time myself, so you know, whatever.
Oh Jesus.
No, it's so funny.
Shit. Well, next time I'm at like the grocery store, I'm gonna look. Do you know who I am?
You know, I met a guy who was a fan of Sargon. Right, we were talking, and I said, "Oh, this is what I do," and whatever. And he's like, "Oh, I've never heard of you." And I'm like, "That's totally fine." Totally fine. He pulls out his phone and says, I'm going to go subscribe. What's your YouTube channel? I'm like, oh, it's Mundane Matt. And I'm watching him. He types it in and he goes, oh, I'm already subscribed to you. And I'm just like, okay, great. Here's my credit card. Can you put the TV in my car? No, but I mean, like, it's like, it happens. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought that was a really funny situation. Because now he knows who I am and he greets me every time I come in.
That is hilarious.
Oh, boy.
Go ahead. Matt, I'd like to get your opinion on this because these guys have heard me talk about it many times. To me, the most fundamental civil right next to life is free speech. And I feel like the U.S. should be pushing that as much as we push any other civil right around the world, and I don't understand why we don't. What do you think about that?
I agree with you that that free speech is probably the most probably the strongest thing we need to protect in this country. And my stance on free speech is basically you can say anything you want, provided you're not calling for the violence towards anybody or destruction of personal property or anything like that.
Agreed.
So calls to action on violence are not protected by free speech, but I don't care what opinions you hold because that's your opinion and we can disagree or agree and that's fine. When I look at stuff where it's like Scotland and the UK and look at like Lauren Southern, you know, getting banned because she held up a sign that said, you know, like Islam is gay or whatever. And it's just
Allah
like was Allah was gay?
Allah was gay.
Yeah.
Well, they're all gay. Screw it. You know, I mean, who cares? Like they don't exist. But the point is that they see, that's my opinion. You can disagree. But no, ultimately the idea there that she's banned from this country because she expressed free speech goes to show you that there are fundamental problems, that there is no such thing as equality in this regard. And this is brought on by, I want to say, like just a maybe half generation of these kids that were given a trophy for everything, you know, and it feels like this kind of like they've just been swaddled for years and anything that they don't like is just needs to go, I guess.
Thank you, thank you, Sanguine. What are you doing, Satsu? Guilt him. What? You don't remember the black man, Matt?
I forgot to use my impression points. I'm saving them for later.
That's true. You got to hold on to those cards, man. You got to like play them right. It's like blackjack or poker.
Now's not the moment.
Blackjack?
It's not the moment.
Oh my god.
Well, that was deeply intense.
Well, Monkey, I actually have an answer to you, or at least a theory. Let me put it this way: a theory. It's not necessarily one I endorse, but it's a theory as to why we don't "quote unquote" export free speech as much as you would prefer we do. I think it's a combination of economics and the prime directive. Trying to meddle in another country's sovereignty, especially if doing so would risk our national security, either strategically or resource-wise, is probably one of the reasons why we don't do it more in the places where it probably could use it the most. And thank you, Adam Mangold. Hey, guys, can't stay, have some money. Oh, thank you, Adam. Nice, appreciate it.
I could agree with that if we weren't pushing other things. I mean, we have no problem on International Women's Day telling people they need to, you know, give women rights. We're and it's always, you know, right to drive. Everybody was so happy that, you know, the women get the right to drive in Saudi Arabia. Okay, what about the right to say what they want to fucking say? Of the two, I think driving comes second.
Well, I mean, I don't think International Women's Day was, I could be mistaken. I mean, by all means, correct me, but I don't think that was like President Trump did not walk out and say all countries on earth should give women equal rights. There was it was a governmental initiative.
Well, our government's also never going to criticize Saudi Arabia. So
exactly. That's what I mean. It's like the economics plus prime directive in the places where it matters the most. I mean, we can criticize the despots that have no money and don't give us anything, like North Korea, until the end of days. Nobody's going to stop us. But getting on the case of China or Saudi Arabia on things that are obvious to the rest of us in the civilized world, it's not going to happen.
We make proclamations at the UN. The president has done it. Maybe not Trump, but Obama certainly did, about needing to get about civil rights throughout the world. We do it all the fucking time. We might be a little vague about it, but we also have no problem calling out. Yeah, they call out Iran for what they do. But I just feel that we should that should be a fundamental part of doing business with us. You don't have to actually be for free speech, but you're going to have to listen to my rant about it, and then we can do business. That's how I just think it is sad that is not a bigger thing.
I think you said it right there. We're vague about it. You know, Obama would make blanket statements. It was rare that he'd ever call out a country by name. And again, rare that he would ever call out by name a country that had any leverage on us economically or strategically. It is an unfortunate fact of global politics and diplomacy that you can't call an ally even an ally that you only begrudgingly keep close to the vest, a villain without risking that relationship.
Yeah.
I say we call him out. Fuck him.
Saudi Arabia, fuck you.
Well,
okay.
I think there's ways to call
pull
them out too, while still being diplomatic. You know what I mean?
No, I say we pull a Reagan. Tear this wall down. He didn't come out and go, you know what, guys, I really wish you would take this down. I would. No, we need to come out and go, you fucking bitches just put somebody in jail for a joke. You need to get your shit together. Period.
Reagan was only safe in doing that because Russia was basically bankrupt. Come on. I mean, he would if Russia was anything like the power it was back in the 60s at that point, Reagan wouldn't have said shit.
Yeah, but at that point in time, it was pretty much like the Soviet Union was already collapsing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like it was already in free fall at the time. So I mean, it was don't get me wrong. I'm not like, getting on Reagan's ass for that. I do think him saying it was a good thing, regardless of the circumstances or the situation. So I'm on board there. But yeah, there's kind of like, what's the context of the world at the time, or what's the state of the world? What's going on?
His advisors told him not to give that speech. His own advisors were like, don't do this.
Well, Trump's own advisor says, do not congratulate Putin. And what do you do? Congratulated Putin. You're not gonna sit there and presidents are gonna president. They're gonna do what they want to do.
Reagan actually had people surrounding him that agreed with him. So it's a little bit different also.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
They tell Trump not to do all kinds of shit. Stop using Twitter, Trump. Stop.
Fucking phone down.
I read a thing last weekend that said that they that is because of all what was going on, like his staff was like pushing him to go golf just to get him
please.
And it's like, if that's what well, he criticized Obama for going and golfing, and Trump's golfed over 100 days in the first 14 months. So
not only that, but him going to the Florida White House over at Mar-a-Lago every other weekend or whatever.
Yeah, White House South or whatever he called it, or Southern White House or something.
Whatever.
Here's my favorite thing about that too is the Mar-a-Lago. I think it was like petitioned for like a local for the local government, the city council, to put through a new provision for work visas. For people from out of country. And so then when that went through, they then hired people strictly using those visas. So if you go to Mar-a-Lago, it's not going to be full of American citizens that are going to be working for the president's company. It's full of immigrants that are coming here trying to find work and working at lower wages through Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, so Mar-a-Lago's like an extension of the DACA program. Yay!
If you spend that much money on a house, you're going to want the yard to look nice.
Yeah, no, I get that. Man. But hey, honestly, Get Out was a movie, right? It could be a thing. I'm just saying.
Replace their brains with like Trump supporters.
Well, I would say in some cases those are already gone to begin with. Some people I've talked to are just dense.
Oh boy. Let's see.
I did see a few people on Twitter today who were taking a little too much joy in what happened to Dank.
Yeah, that was part of what my rant was about mostly. It was the fact that people were actually reveling in this. And it was connected to the thing that I said before. The detractors were saying, well, it's not the government that's filtering your speech, so it's not a breach of your free speech. And I'm like, okay, well, now it is. So your argument should be different. And they're like, no, still the same. Fuck you guys. Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, here's the thing with Dankula. Had Dankula walked little Buddha over to a temple or a synagogue or two Jews sitting outside playing checkers and was like, Buddha, gas the Jews? If he would have done anything like that, I would have been completely in agreement with it being hate speech. Right? Like, or trolling, or like, I would have been in agreement with what the judge said. But he did it to piss off his girlfriend. He made that abundantly clear multiple times in the video.
Even if he had done that, I mean, at that point, that's hugely dickish if he went and did it in front of a Jew who's out just enjoying their day. But I still don't think you should go to jail for something.
No, I don't think you should go to jail for it. It's a dick move, but
I would have no problem with that Jew punching him in the face for it.
Yeah.
But this is just such, and yeah, guys, this is not here in the States, but again, this kind of shit is creeping in. We've already seen it in New York. We've seen it in California now. And remember, if you are one of those people who thinks this is a great thing, there's going to be people offended by shit you say too.
Thank you, KIC. Stroke Scribe's ego, guys. Smash that like button. Smash that like button because Matt's here. There you go. If you need a better incentive, if I'm not good enough, give Matt the props.
Well,
what about me?
What about you? You've got your own show.
Oh.
Well, weren't you guys saying something about earlier that like I think Matt was saying like it's like a younger like this most recent generation and a half kind of.
Yeah. They don't get it. They don't get it at all. And the older generation grew up. The thing is like this. It's like the older generation. I don't know if they're baby boomers in Scotland, but like let's look at our baby boomers. A lot of them grew up, the nightly news was God to them, right? What you saw on the nightly TV was the truth, whether it was or wasn't. You got your source of information from one, maybe two places, and that was considered factual. The people that are younger now and older now, they are still kind of part. They're I don't want to. They're kind of like two sides of the same coin or opposite ends of the same coin. I don't want to say horseshoe theory, but the way I see it is they both get their sources from like one or two places, and they're not willing to look outside of that. And so whatever they've grown up with is kind of where they have their mind set to. The older people want to go back to 1955. They want that better time for some reason. That's where a lot of that mindset goes. And the younger generation, it just wants everything to be like when they were kids, and there was no worry. There was no problems. Mommy and daddy took care of everything. You got a gold star if you wiped front to back. And I think they're both in the same category of just blinders on, and they don't understand the world.
With the younger generation, a large part of it is it's not just that everyone gets a trophy thing. It's that everything that makes you feel bad is bullying. I mean, this is a push that's been going on for a while, and when you grow up with that mindset that everybody who says anything mean about you or anyone who's not just kissing your ass 24/7 is a bully. Things like this will be, well, they shouldn't do this. They shouldn't be mean. No, what we need to do is teach kids to stop being fucking pussies.
Yeah.
Realize that the world doesn't owe you shit. Your feelings do not fucking matter. They don't. Your feelings don't matter, guys.
Well, one of the points that I was making, because I heard some when I was because I know y'all don't do Facebook, but I spent a considerable time fucking with people on Facebook. Like a lot of people were saying that, you're saying it's the younger generation, but there are a lot of older people like politicians and stuff chiming in on this and agreeing with them, and they're confirming their beliefs. And I'm like, that's only because they are currently holding the power structure. These are the people who are in these politicians' pockets trying to limit what you can do as an individual to defend yourself. And the less power you have to defend yourself, whether it be speech or anything else, the more pull they have. And if they can strip that away, of course, they're going to be like, oh, hell yeah, that shit's really evil, that stuff that they're doing. Yeah, you guys should be angry about that, because the more power gets stripped away from you, the more power they gain. They are currently in charge of the power structure that you fucking, snowflakes complain about every day, and you are relinquishing more power to them, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, what happened today, I was talking about this like a few episodes back, but my deep topic was, imagine a future where the internet can only be uploaded to by those approved by the company owning the servers. And how, normal people are going to be maybe restricted from adding anything to the internet. And it'll just be a consumer outline and not an inline for people who aren't, sort of like, the old broadcast television shows. ABC could broadcast content. You couldn't broadcast content up to ABC. That is a dystopian sort of future kind of thing. But when stuff like this happens, I don't see how that isn't an outcome that we can now imagine as a reality, because if your regular citizen is not trusted to do anything even as innocuous and harmless as a joke, undermining a now thankfully dead regime from the past, which will hopefully never come back in any particularly meaningful way, what's to stop the next thing? I mean, what is the next thing slightly lower than making fun of Nazis that someone can turn into a crime? And then where does it end, except to the point of we can't trust people to express themselves on a mass scale, so let's just lock off the internet from people. I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe I'm just kind of Stephen Kinging on coke here a little bit, but it's still all the same.
No, my worry is how much of this is coming here, because let's face it, the Europeans are fucked. Even their most conservative parties, like, yeah, hate speech is a bad thing. And I just wonder how much of it's going to be here. Right now, we do have the Supreme Court who's upheld our laws. But again, we have laws like what just happened in California, where if you work at a senior center and you use the wrong pronoun too many times, it's a crime. Which is
okay, that one is new to me. Come again.
Oh, you haven't?
I did not hear about this one.
You know the guy who introduced the bill to make it a misdemeanor to give people AIDS. That guy. He's an interesting fella. Yeah, that same asshole introduced a bill in California to make it a criminal offense. I can't remember if it's just a fine or if there's jail time. But yeah,
I've got the story here if you want me to.
Sure, do it real quick. Yeah.
New California law. This is from October of 2017. New California law allows jail time for using wrong gender pronoun, though sponsor denies that would happen, even though it's part of the law. Last I knew.
Yeah.
See, California healthcare workers who, quote, willfully and repeatedly decline to use a senior transgender patient's preferred name or pronouns could face punishments ranging from a fine to jail time under a newly signed law. Governor Jerry Brown signed the legislation last week. So I mean, I won't read the whole thing, but that is law in California now.
I had forgot about that. Yeah. Because the law specifically has in there a jail time possibility. But yeah, he was like, that'll never happen. Then why is it in the law, dickhead?
Yeah.
Well, I honestly, I want California to get like a new governor. I don't know why they keep reelecting Jerry Brown. Because when I ran for governor, it was during the recall of Gray Davis. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, like I know Schwarzenegger did his bit, he won. And then for some reason, like, he didn't do that good of a job in California. But like, for some reason they were like, oh, let's bring back Jerry Brown. And the consensus at the time, because I was living there when that whole thing went through, the consensus was, well, we were in a much better place back in the 70s when Brown was governor. So maybe it can happen there again. And it's all like, it's that same mindset though, right? It's that same mindset of you want to go back to a better time. And when people who like either try to overshoot where we currently are, which is what Brown has done with these kind of laws, like the whole, you know, misdemeanor for HIV thing is the most asinine thing to come out of California in a long time. And I'm even including the Me Too movement in that, because like, that's ridiculous. And I honestly, I'm saying I should have been governor. Should have been me. No, people are like, you just fuck up the state. And I'm all like, yeah, but I wouldn't make it any worse. So
okay. Can't do worse than now. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Okay. Like I said, that's what worries me about the free speech thing, because this stuff has started to seep in here. And their reasoning for doing it just in this instance, there was some rationale for it. But if you think that's where it's staying, you're out of your fucking mind. It's going to creep further and further in. And it all comes back to, you hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Don't give a shit about your feelings. Your feelings have nothing to do with law.
Exactly.
Yeah. People need to have their kids scrape their knees more often, and then not coddle them when they start crying. Just like, you're fine. Put a Band-Aid on it. Toughen up.
Like, we need laws to make the ground softer. It's very oppressive.
Yeah, concrete's too hard for our children, so could we turn it into like mushy, spongy stuff, please?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Freaking roadways. Sorry.
Oh God, solar roadways. You know, one of the things that I won't criticize Thunderfoot for are his debunking fraud science videos, because I love those. But that's another thing. Thank you, Cryptic. Cali succeeded. We nuke the coast and take it back. Well, what we need is for that earthquake to happen that like makes California into an island, like in Escape from LA, and then like we just turn into a prison. One big
Well, why don't we
prison
just go down there with some pickaxes?
Yeah, we'll start that process.
Just start chipping away.
Yeah. See, California is a pretty big state. So, like, I'll put it to you like this: the dry, because I lived in southern, right there at the border, basically, San Diego. So to drive to Northern California would take me approximately 17 hours to get from basically one end to one end. Was roughly 15 to 17 hours, depending on how fast I was going.
Jesus.
So, shit, it takes for fucking ever to drive up California.
Not according to Grand Theft Auto.
That is also true. But in Grand Theft Auto, there's no traffic on the goddamn 405. So fuck them.
Let's see. We're enough close to the bottom of the hour. Chat, it's now your time. If you have questions for us, for Matt, if you have conspiracy theories, complaints, concerns, ideas for what I should have for lunch tomorrow, whatever, just put in the chat there, put enough question marks after it so know that it's for us, and we'll do our best to cover those things. In the meantime, you got anything coming up in the near future, Matt? Any streams or events or anything you'd like to plug on our small little channel here?
Well, I moved my streams over to Twitch.
Okay.
And the reason why I did that is because the way YouTube's algorithm works, by doing the stream and then cutting up the stream and then posting it, it actually negatively impacts my channel because YouTube looks at the watch time and the session retention time.
Yeah.
So if I'm running a 2-hour stream, and then I post it publicly, and then I clip the stuff out for the next little bit, if people watch the stream but don't finish it or just ignore it, YouTube looks at that as a bad video, and then they don't start recommending the other stuff. So I was doing that for a couple weeks, and I was just noticing that stuff was starting to kind of drop off a little bit here and there. And I realized that was a problem. And then when I moved it back over to Twitch, now I'm noticing there's an uptick again. So I'm just going to keep doing that. So if you're gonna stream and then post singular videos, my recommendation would be separate that shit, not the same channel. Just because of the way the algorithm works, they like to fuck you. My 2017, 2018 goals have been to learn as much about YouTube as humanly possible, and I'm still working on trying to get into the certification program. Hopefully soon they'll give me a yes on that one.
Okay. We have a question for you from Priestess of Keck, Mundane Matt. How is the little princess doing?
She's doing very well. She is 3.5 months old, and she's gotten to the point now. She's in her smiling phase, which I love.
Aw.
So she'll be like off doing her own thing, and I'll walk in and she'll see me, and then it's all smiles. Not so much giggling yet, but we're getting there. Lots of grunts and stuff, but she's doing really good. She's sleeping a little bit longer, which is nice, because then I get a little bit more sleep, which is good. So yeah.
Let's see. Point curation.
Adorable.
Oh yeah, I've seen the pictures. Cute little baby. I always like little babies. Point curation says, "What makes life worth living?" Probably little babies at this stage of the game.
Vagina.
I'm gonna have to say probably Ranting Monkey's right on that one, because vagina leads to babies.
That's true.
So it's kind of like a flow chart, you know.
A flow chart, you say?
Yeah. See, the problem with it is that like vagina leads to babies, but then it's also like, let's do that again, and you're like, but no, I don't want more than. But I like vagina. Fuck. You know. So that's why that male contraceptive pill needs to hurry up and come the fuck out.
Just get your ball snipped. It doesn't hurt that bad.
Oh,
Thanks.
Your boy Pat says, Matt, why you keep beating me to the punch on stories?
Because I am extremely good at what I do.
Are you the best there is at what you do?
Because I'm the best around. No, what it is for me is I'm very vigilant
too.
I'm very vigilant on what I do, on how I do things, and so. If you notice, I upload content 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So, and that's like I try not to skip days. And what I do now is I'll in the streams I pre-record content. So I'll pre-record 4 videos, and then I'll do 3 a day, and then I save a couple for the weekend. So then I can take Friday, Saturday, or I can take Friday and Saturday off, which is very nice. But ultimately, I have a ton of RSS feeds coming into my phone. I have news alerts that are always going off with what's going on, and I look for things that have the potential of being bigger stories. And sometimes I get it right, sometimes I get it wrong, but that's generally what how I tend to approach it.
What's funny, Matt, is I remember recently you were going back and forth with some dude on Twitter, and I had defended you because he was saying that I guess you're a failed YouTuber, because I think you called Tonka a failed wrestler.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wait a minute. So buying a house and making enough money to where you're doing that and exclusively that, and living comfortably means you failed at it?
It's what it is okay. So part of it boils down to, like, a lot of YouTubers, we always have to, like I said this before, is we always have to justify our existence, right? Mm-hmm. And because over the course of the past, let's say 10 years, we've seen this massive uptick in people that are independent creators. Because earlier we talked about, the restriction to posting the broadcast, right? So in up until the birth of the internet, so to speak, you were very restricted. You couldn't write a blog, you couldn't host a podcast or anything. And now you can, and people are making millions and millions of dollars a year doing this, right? Oh, yeah. Not me, but not yet, at least. But other people are making millions and millions of dollars a year. And they're doing it because people are wanting a different opinion. They're wanting to support people who they get entertainment from. And so that's a lot of where it boils down to. And then companies see that. So when people sit there and they go, "Oh, you're a failed YouTuber," I just like to direct them to my social blade. Do you see all that green? Yes, that translates to green in my bank account. So please suck a dick. I don't give a shit too. They don't. Most of these people don't have channels. They don't. They spend all their time on YouTube, but then claim to hate YouTube. So, like, fuck them. What are they gonna? They're not going to impact me negatively. You're not going to stop me doing my job. So, blow me.
Let's see. Mining Freedom asks, Matt, what if you didn't take clips out of your streaming content and your streaming content is entirely independent from your uploads? Does that hurt the channel?
It's all about audience watch time. So, and Mining Freedom and I did have about a 90-minute conversation about this the other day. And so ultimately what that boils down to is, if you post a 2-hour video to your channel and maybe you got 1,000 subscribers, and let's say 200 people watch. And if those 200 people aren't watching the full 2 hours, it's going to show YouTube that people just are not engaging with the content. And that way they're not going to then recommend that content. So it becomes a problem when you're trying, because YouTube, they want people watching, they want people staying on the site, but they also have basically said that the best way to do that is with short content. Now, this is where the problem lies in terms of getting paid, because ultimately with YouTube, it's like 10 minutes or bust. If you want to make money, you want to have a 10-minute long video, right? Yep.
Right.
Because you can drop a mid-roll ad in there, and those tend to get better ads anyway. But ultimately, you're also kind of a slave to your watch time, because that's the average amount of time people watch and whatnot. And so when you do a 2-hour video and you have a watch time and it says, oh, maybe it was like 20 minutes. Well, that's pretty good for most channels, but that's also only like a percentage. That's like 20% of your subscribers, of your viewers. And that's not going to be very good.
On the other hand, YouTube does give more preference to a video that gets 20 minutes of watch time than a 10-minute video. So there is a balance there.
There is, that's right. That is very true. There is a balance there. But I was noticing, because of the frequency of uploads on my channel, that was where I was noticing the problem there, because I post the 3 individual stories and so on and so forth. Like, and I've toyed with ways to try and figure out like the best course of action of, maybe like not doing the streams and then just spending more time editing the content together and focusing on that, which could be a thing as well. But I like doing the streams. I think it's a lot of fun.
Let's see. What was that one that somebody just asked? Boatman says, Matt, with the birth of your child, are you measuring how big the bags under your eyes are getting?
No, it's not the bags. It's, I can still manage about 5 hours a night, thankfully. So that's good. It's more like by Friday, I'm just done. You know, like my girlfriend gets home from work about 3:30 on Friday. I'm like, here's the kid, go, leave me alone. You know, like I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll pass out for like 10 hours that night. So I get my sleep, I take it.
Oh, geez. Thank you, Cryptic. Everything is made in China except for babies. They're made in vagina.
I see what you did there.
And Cryptic can make those jokes because he's Asian.
Cryptic's Asian.
It is Asian, yes. Let's see. Oh, and SDA and Pat are having a love fest in the chat right now. So there you go. Let's see. Any other questions, guys? I'm sure you got questions in here somewhere.
Monkey, you gonna let SDA roll up on your Pat? Like
Pat is too big for one person. He's so much man, he needs several.
Okay.
That's very admirable of you.
I would cuddle Pat. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, you'd get a big Pat hug. Lucas Collinsgrew, if I'm saying that right. What are your thoughts on cultural relativism? I'm relatively neutral.
You ass.
I don't know.
What is it?
I'm an English major. I don't know this shit. What the fuck? I'm not a philosophy major.
Yeah, I'm also kind of curious. Cultural relativism.
It sounds familiar, but I think we've been asked about that before, actually.
Yeah, okay, let me look it up real quick. Cultural relativism is the idea that a person's beliefs, values, and practices should be understood based on that person's own culture rather than be judged against the criteria of another. Well, I think there are some things that most people would say are bad, like slavery. I think most people would say that being a slave would be awful, and the old thing of, the golden rule, what would you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If slavery is bad for you, why would it be good for somebody else? And if a culture promotes slavery, I think you can say, well, despite the fact that it might be good in your culture, it's bad. So I can hold you to account for things that are demonstrably awful, I think.
When I look at this, I think of something like eating dogs. Okay. There's cultures that do that, and I have no problem with it because it's just meat. I mean, they're animals, and I know, don't get all upset, people, but they are just animals, even if it's your baby. But when it comes to things like slavery, yeah, that's when it's like, no, sorry, universal, fuck you if you do it.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of activists, particularly black activists, use it to justify bigotry on their side. I've seen it in a lot of cases where they're like, well, culturally speaking, because we've been through X, Y, and Z. When we're racist or we're prejudiced against white people, or when we say something like kill all white people or something, then because of what we've been through and our culture, then it should be acceptable, or it's something different. Like, it's not the same thing. You can't weigh those two things as equals because we should get a pass. That's most of the time where I see it being used, where they say like, we can't be racist or some shit like that.
You assholes forgot to remind me at YouTube time I was supposed to talk about something. So get your super chat here so I can do that.
Oh, okay. All right. Chaos Eve, thank you. I know you're not doing ads for now, but wanted to show some love, Scribe. Appreciate it. Thank you, Eve. By the way, Matt, did you know that SDA wrote a book? You should go check that out. Wink, wink.
I didn't know SDA wrote a book, but if she tweets it at me, I'll check it out.
All right, Monkey, you're right. We got caught up in the excitement of having a guest on. You're right. I apologize for not putting you front and center. Monkey, what did you want to talk about?
All right, Matt, you're not allowed back because they forget me.
All right,
forget me.
No, you're right. What was it?
Bebo has a new friend.
All right.
And this new friend is mad at me because of my video about it was a Riley Dennis video where Riley said black people can't be racist, and I correctly called that bullshit. They've made a video about me, which I haven't watched. By the way, guys, if you make a video about me, there's a 95% chance I'm not going to watch it.
Ditto.
But and that's not just it's not because I don't. It's not an ego thing. If you have an opinion about me, that's fine. Knock yourself out. I do it to other people, so I'm not going to say you can't. I'm just not that interested in having an argument about everything I say. Lebo says he's a doll to talk to. I'm sure he is, but his video title is something like "Monkey climbed a tree and I beat his ass" or something like that. Like, yeah, that's a good way to good way to get my attention. But it's out there for anybody who wants to see it. I wanted to make sure that was Weibo. Toss the link up there if you have it. Let people go watch this. Let me know if it's worth even looking at. I'm not going to watch it anyway, but still.
Well, there was a guy the other night that did a live stream on Saturday night during primetime hours, going through the video I made on the dossier, the Steele dossier from January of last year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a 14-month-old video for one, based on information that had dropped like an hour earlier, and I was just going through it at face value, right?
Yeah.
So, and what I think, like, and the thing is, people were like messaging it to me, like, "Are you going to watch it?" And I'm all, "No, I'm not." And then I looked into it a little bit further, and the person, I don't know who the hell this guy is, but he's like friends with Aiden Paladin. And I had gotten into it with her about the dossier on V's stream like 2 weeks ago. So I find there to be a funny comparison here, and people have like been sending it to me like afterward. "Oh, are you gonna watch this?" I'm all like, "No," because I've looked into this dude a little bit. Our politics clearly don't line up. I don't care. You know, like, if you want to come talk to me about my opinion, cool. There's Twitter, there's email, which I get tons of emails from people disagreeing with me. What I love is when I do a story on a random pendejo, right? Just a random shit dick asshole out there, and like someone from their family finds the video, messages me. That is the weirdest fucking thing. Have you got that yet?
Oh yeah, I get people sending me. It started recently. I've been getting more and more responses, and people like, "Have you seen this?" And for the most part, guys, I really don't watch them. I don't.
No, but I mean, if you do a story, like a news story on somebody, and not YouTube related, just like, someone out there in that sphere, and then like either like their friends or like them or their family message you.
No,
I've been getting that a lot. I've been getting that a lot, and that is like the weirdest thing. I get random threats from these people. I've been getting like privacy complaints on videos and shit, which don't amount to anything, because I'm like, I read the article, it's already been published someplace else, I'm just commenting, so it's like this is whatever. But like, I get a lot of that shit, and it is the weirdest fucking thing, because I'm like, it's so weird to go, but all I did is talk about this. Like, I don't quite see the relevance, And then if people make videos about me, or if I've happened to see them, I don't seek them out to like disagree. I'm like, all right, it's just your opinion. It's all good.
Yeah, you're allowed to have whatever opinion you want. And
well, I will say the only person that happened with was Dave Cullen. And Dave did a video about me last year in response to something that I said that I felt was taken out of context. And as a result, I got months and months and months, and I mean this, of comments of people calling me like a pedophile defender and all sorts, like a rape apologist and shit like this. And I'm just like, really? Because I said, I don't know how to feel about the situation, and I have questions surrounding it that even a judge or would ask before sentencing, right? And so then I was worried about VidCon because Dave was going, and there was there's animosity. Of course, I'm a little bit ticked off when it's like my video comments are full of like, "You're a pedophile defender" and shit. There's articles written about me, videos made about me and shit. And I'm like, this is insane. And so Dave and I kind of cleared the air before VidCon, and then we talked at VidCon about it quite a bit. And I explained to him my positioning. He explained to me his positioning, and we had a conversation. Then before he left VidCon, he told me, he's like, "Hey man, listen, I just want to apologize for that video. I'm going to take it down." And I told him, "Dude, just leave it up. It's perfectly fine." But he went and he took the video down anyway. And then people went after him for taking the video down.
Yeah.
And I'm like we met up. We became friends. We became friends at VidCon. Like, Dave is a sweet, gentle guy. And, a good guy.
That video was a dick video. Let's be honest.
It was a dick video, but it was like, again, it was just there was miscommunication.
For those, real quick, let's give everybody context. This was about a 19-year-old girl who had sex with a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, that's how I lost my virginity.
Wait, you had sex with a 14-year-old boy?
Fuck you. You asshole.
That explains so much.
Oh my God.
You walked right into that one. You walked right into that one. That was good.
You ass. You know what? Fuck it. I like Dave's video. How you like me now?
I don't have a stake in this. I don't know.
No. The whole thing with it is I had said so yes, she did in fact have a relationship with this guy, this 14-year-old, so a teenager, and she got pregnant, right? And she was facing 20 years in jail.
Right.
That was like the maximum. And I started off the video, and Monkey will back this up. I started off the video by saying I don't quite know how to feel about this.
Yep.
And the biggest problem was the fact that she lived with him for 2 weeks. His parents were aware of that. They had sex multiple times, but she also pulled out her phone and recorded a video of it and then sent it to him. So that is where a lot of the problem came from. And then she'd also had issues like family issues, like her, like she had like, problems upbringing. Her parents were both killed. Her grandfather died recently. There was injuries on the job at work. Like there's all these emotional things going on in her life. So I asked a question like, would the judge, or I said like, were they in love? Were they in a relationship? Because I don't view it as pedophilia because the kid was 14. That would be what, hebephilia, whatever it's called, or hebephilia.
Yeah.
Whatever the terminology is. And it's like, I don't know, for one, if they're still together now or if they intended to stay together. But I asked a bunch of questions, and because I didn't have the hard line stance of fuck her, she's a rapist. Because, I don't look at it as being a taken advantage of situation. Yeah. And I'm sorry, go ahead, Monkey.
The worst part of that situation wasn't just Dave's videos. Because of Dave's video, a whole bunch of people jumped on Matt's a pedophile defender. Like, yeah. Did you even watch Matt's video, for fuck's sake? Nope. That is not at all what he did.
No, that's the thing too. That's a lot of it. That's the problem with a lot of these response videos. And it's actually one of the reasons why I really, honest to God, try not to get in on that drama anymore. Like, I know for a fact, if I want to make money on this platform, oh man, I could jump right into a lot of this shit, and I've criticized Logan Paul and Jake Paul because they're both fucking idiots, but they do it publicly, but it's like the interpersonal drama shit I try not to get into. But there are people out there that they only see the headline or maybe watch the first couple of minutes of something or hear what someone else has to say. And then that's how they formulate their fucking opinion.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing.
I try to stay away from the YouTube drama stuff as much as possible, if I can. Well,
the thing is, YouTube as a platform has enough fucking drama. That's the best part about it. Yeah. Like, everything they do was a mistake. So I enjoy talking about that side of it because they just keep stepping in it constantly, and I like being informed. But yeah, like, when I look at, like, I watch a Scarce video or a Keemstar video, I'm like, who fucking cares?
Thank you, Diesel Dave. I was 16, she was 32. Some of my best memories. That's.
Let me also real quick to further context. This doesn't pertain to anything legally speaking. The age of consent in Alabama, which is where this took place, was 16, not 18 as in most states. Right. So it's not like it was a 14-year-old and the age of consent is 18. That was also, I did talk about that in the video too. As another factor of like just information. So
a lot of what you said in that video is similar to what I said when the whole Milo shit blew up.
Yeah.
And mine is informed by the fact that literally I was 14, she was 19, and I understand it from a male perspective, and I understand why society sees those as different when it's a man versus a woman. I don't think legally it should be different, but I do understand why we see it that way. And watching them just fucking rake you over the coals, I'm like, are you guys even serious?
Oh, it still happens. It's been a year.
Every once in a while I see it up on somebody will post something to you on Twitter. I'm like, God, for fuck's sake, people.
Yeah. Oh no, I get that. Yeah, I get that all the time. It's one of those things where it's just like, okay, now you just if that is literally the best you've got on me, then that's fine. That's why I laugh at the whole like, oh, you cried over you're getting your silver play button. Like, oh yeah, God. I did. Hey, but here's my question for you guys. Where's yours? Did you get one that I didn't see? Oh no, because you're a bottom feeding scumfuck. Please.
Like, fuck yourself. What did you do for your silver button, huh?
No, the thing is, too, and I've explained this too, going into that moment in time, like when I got it, I was swatted like 3 months earlier. And so like that really fucked with my head in terms of like a lot of shit. And, because there were days where I was just sitting in my apartment, like listening for any kind of loud noise, or if it ever went silent, I would be like really fucking paranoid that it was going to happen again, And so getting that, a few months later was, to me, indicative of going through a lot of shit, right? Like going from 16,000 subscribers when Gamergate started to 6 months later being able to go full time at 55,000 subscribers. A year later, a few months after that, I got doxxed through a potential blackmail threat, which is true. He was a critic of Rich from Review Tech USA. Guy messages me my own docs information and says, if you don't denounce Rich in a video, I'm going to release your precious information. So I just chose to get out ahead of it because I'm not going to negotiate with fucking terrorists and shit. However, it's not terrorism, to get my point. And so I doxed myself on that one. And then a few months later I was swatted. So there was a lot that had gone on over the course of the previous couple of years, just trying to get to where I was at. So getting that button, yes, maybe it was a copy print letter, but it was what it represented, not what it was, And it was just like all of those emotions came out, and I chose to post the video, and I still have it up there. And, and now what's really funny too is I'll get messages from people on Twitter saying stuff like, do you feel bad that videos making fun of you over that have more views than the video of you actually doing it? And I'm like, is that really like your best comeback? What? So,
let's see. A few questions. We've got about 9 minutes left, guys. So let's try to close it out with some question stuff. So way back there, Scott McGinnis asked, Matt, what's your favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie? Just to change the subject a little bit. No, the favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie is probably, look, a lot of people would say Bloodsport, but I would argue my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie is Street Fighter. Mine's probably JCVD, because it was such a personal little memoir from Jean-Claude Van Damme about being a movie actor. It was actually kind of deep. It was weird. It's very abstract. If you can find a copy of JCVD, that's the name of it. I'm not saying it's the best thing he's ever
really
done.
Obscure venereal disease. That's how I took that title.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like a biopic kind of thing. It's really odd, but it's interesting. It's a turn that I didn't expect.
I've heard good things about it. I do want to see it.
Let's see. Backscan says, Monkey, we forgot the most serious question. Mundane Matt, is cereal soup? We did that.
We did that when he was on before.
We did that last time.
Yeah, when he was on Monkey's channel.
They only have to answer that one time.
Let's see. Angry Introvert says, have to go. Good night, chat. Good night, Angry.
See you, Angry.
Let's see. Peter Hades says, Street Fighter is fucking terrible. Well, but was Raul Julia's last movie? There's some, sentimentality to it. Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. 20 years later, that movie is like still infinitely quotable. It's so bad. It's so bad. But it's still quotable, and it's still so much fun to watch. It's just like I've got the Blu-ray of that fucking movie. Like that's how much I love that goddamn thing. As soon as I saw it on the shelf, I was like, "Fuck, you're coming home with me." So yeah.
Doubting Tommy says, can't remember the name, but the twin one, 2 Van Damme's better than one. Oh God, what was that?
Double Impact. Double Impact. Because there was that one too. It was a double. Was it Double Team? That was the one with Dennis Rodman.
Yes. Double Team was Dennis Rodman.
That was so dumb.
I always liked. Let's see, there were two. There was The Quest, which was like Bloodsport 3 or something, and then there was Lionheart. I never saw it, but I just remember the preview where like his coach or something is just screaming like Lionheart.
Lionheart was good. Death Warrant was another one. Where he went to jail.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But let's be real. But let's be fair though. John Woo's fucking Hard Target, 1993 JCVD.
Yes, Hard Target actually is good. I actually enjoyed.
It's a good movie.
It's a good.
A good movie. Universal Soldier was another good movie.
Not Time Cop, guys. Time Cop, no.
Oh, you didn't like Time Cop?
Time Cop sucks.
God. I mean, the Paradox thing. Was that Ron Silver's last movie? Because it sure felt like it.
No, he's been in a few other things, but that might have ended his career.
Yeah, well, I think he passed away not long after that.
Did he?
I think. Anyway, Ron Silver died.
Oh, that sucks. I like him.
I forget. It was many years ago now, I think, but I'm not sure I wasn't.
See, got him talking about films. It's all over, guys.
2009. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it was long after Time Cop, but all the same, it was the last thing I remember.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
You ever see the movie Sneakers?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Sneakers. But I saw like way back in the day.
Walmart has just recently brought it back on DVD, so it's what we're doing on our. Are we doing that this Sunday, Scribe?
Yeah, I've got it. I got my special edition with like director's commentary and everything on it.
Cool.
Actually, I might have to watch it twice, but yeah, we did Ice Pirates last time. We're gonna do Sneakers this weekend.
You guys just like pop it in and stream it, or what?
Well, no, what we do is we basically do a complete breakdown of the movie and talk about what we liked. It's a little semi-occasional stream we do called Movies You Should Have Watched.
Okay.
And that's going to be.
I'll have to go and rewatch Sneakers and then go and watch that one. So,
Sneakers is great. It's one of those like.
Wasn't Dan Aykroyd blind in that movie? Like he was the blind, right?
No, that was David Strathairn. Dan Aykroyd was the conspiracy theorist. You had Sidney Poitier, Robert Redford, not Joaquin Phoenix, River Phoenix. Dan Aykroyd, David Strathairn. What was her name? I know it was Donald Logue's first movie. The first time I ever saw Donald Logue was his first movie. I remember I thought, God, that guy's really kind of cool looking. And then I saw him as that cab driver character on MTV. I thought, isn't that the guy from Sneakers? And then I started seeing him in other movies and then Blade, and I was like, oh yeah. So
for the record, guys, anybody watching our stream this week, I know we tell you to watch the movie beforehand. This is one you really, really, really want to watch first because a spoiler on this movie, the first time you watch it, ruins the movie.
Yeah.
So find a copy and watch it before you come watch us.
Yeah.
Or just wait what mine is, but I don't have one. So
let's see. Satsu. Oh, apparently Satsu, you didn't say what your favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie is.
I know, that's what I just commented on. I'm like, they're asking me what mine is, but I don't have one.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Yeah, they were all, well. Even Weeva was concerned they didn't hear from you on Jean-Claude Van Damme. They're all talking about Jean-Claude Van Damme now on Universal Soldier.
Well, to be honest, I haven't seen a lot of his movies, because I've just, like I said, I've never really been a movie person when I was growing up because I was introduced to video games as a very small kid, and nothing else in life mattered.
Nothing else mattered.
Speaking of which, Matt, you're a gamer too. What games are you playing right now?
Right now I am pretty much balls deep just in Kingdom Come Deliverance. I have been there now for a month. I have not come up from air, and I'm okay with that. Right. That game is just amazing. It is so much fun.
Scott says, Scribe Light, please have Razor Fist on. I don't know Razor Fist. I wouldn't know how to invite him on because I don't. It's kind of difficult saying, hey, person you've never heard of before, and I don't know, hey, you want to come on this show that you've never known about? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we get a lot of requests for guests, and guys, we don't know a lot of people.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, the YouTube community might be a relatively small one in relation to the planet, but that doesn't mean everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Matt, just me and Monkey have been playing 7 Days to Die like it just came out. And we stream every weekend playing that shit. And if you'd like to see Monkey die, like if you have some deep-seated hatred for Monkey that you just don't want to talk about, then you can watch him die and break his limbs several times in a stream if you'd like.
Welcome to the stream.
I'm okay with that because I've seen some of his videos to me. So yeah, I'm okay with that.
Okay, you guys might not know this. 2 of my first videos were actually directed at Matt. It was a long time ago, and he was wrong in his opinion, so I called him out for it. But again, this is one of those times I like to point this out to people. It's okay for people to disagree.
Yeah,
I never hated Matt. He was wrong, so I told him he was wrong.
And to quote the Big Lebowski, that's just like your opinion, man.
Well, guys, we are at the top of the hour, so by the time we finish all the goodbyes, we'll be there. First and foremost, chat, thank you so much for joining us as you always do. You're the best audience in the realm of YouTube, period. And thank you for everyone for your generosity in the super chats. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. You're the unsung heroes of the stream as always. Oh, and thank you, Diesel Dave. Thoughts on State of Decay 2?
It's not out yet, but I want it.
Yeah. Not out May 22nd. May 22nd.
Yeah, people are excited.
$30. Only $30.
Satsu's going to be streaming that on 2 cents,
2 cents plus.
2 cents plus soon, so he'll have a chance to get an idea of how that operates before the sequel comes out in May. Monkey SDA shit. Old habits die hard. I apologize. Satsu.
Ouch.
Monkey and Satsu. You know what? It takes a while, dude. It takes a while. I've been trained. You know, I got to get out of
penetration.
Monkey and Satsu. Thank you for joining me as always. Matt, thank you for joining us. As a nice surprise. And all our thoughts and prayers, as you might say, go out to Dankula and Sue, and hopefully he'll only get probation or something stupid, even though what happened is ridiculous. Guys, tomorrow night we'll be on Monkey's channel per usual. And as always, your lives make us sad. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, guys.
Fuck off.
Yeah.